Leon Prater is Dexter's biggest problem, or is he? But first, who even is Leon Prater? Leon Prater, brother to Diddy, is New York's finest billionaire. We first were introduced to Prater in episode 4, Call Me Red, where we're shown his power on the show. He sends invitations to notorious serial killers and invites them to meet them face to face. Throughout all the episodes, we have also seen Charlie, who's basically Prater's bodyguard and the one that takes care of things in the background. Now, in his first appearance in this episode, he's the calmest person in the room, and mind you, there were 5 other serial killers there. I do gotta hand it to the writers though, as they made him to be feared and respected even though he's 4'5". He also wears a suit in every scene he's in, which makes him look cute rather than scary, which is what the past Dexter villains have looked like. Now, to the normal people in New York, he's actually a charitable man, involving himself in many charities, one of which was the NYPD, which makes him a suspect in my books, but we'll cover that later on. Now, from my perspective, he seems like a narcissist to me, but that could just be me, or that's probably just like every Dexter villain. But I mean, come on, he's literally watching his own interview he had face to face where he chuckles and eats his entire caloric intake in one meal. He's also said that he loves taking pride in cooking, as he's learned from some of the best, and why not utilize it? In episode 4, we're shown his insane collection of serial killers trophies. In it, we're introduced to many things, even the table where Brian Moser, the Istra killer, was murdered on. And it's insane that I'm even saying this, but even Dexter's actual blood slides from the original Dexter. Now, alright, time to compare Prater to 3 key serial killers in the original Dexter. Now, Dexter has faced some truly legendary killers over the years, and to understand just how unique Leon Prater is, we need to look at those unks closely. First up is the Istra killer, also known as Brian Moser, also known as Dexter's brother. This guy was the first, I guess, nightmare for Dexter. Now, Brian wasn't just killing randomly all willy-nilly, no. His murders were in a way artistic and, in my opinion, very personal. As I said, Brian was Dexter's brother, and their relationship brought a whole new layer of emotional chaos, on top of the amazing season 1 we were getting. Now, throughout season 1, Dexter was thrown off balance because Brian's attacks felt like they were directed at him personally, not just anyone. I mean, the man was leaving weird clues which forced Dexter to figure out the pattern. Now, even though Brian was dangerous, he was loud about it, which from what we've seen is the opposite of Leon Prater. Next is the Bay Harbor Butcher. Now, this one is complicated because the Butcher was Dexter himself, but for the sake of the comparison, this arc was about Dexter's own double life catching up to him. Unlike Brian, or this villain, quote unquote, was all about stealth and survival. Dexter had to hide the truth from the world while also keeping his dark passenger in check, which in the end ended the series. There was no grand pattern for Dexter to chase here because he was the pattern. This dude had a code, and it was to only kill bad people that get away with crimes. The only other pattern would have been how he kills and disposes the bodies, but the real tension came from the fear of being caught, all from season 1 to 8. Now, obviously, some found out and some didn't, but the ones who didn't end up living anymore. For now, comparing him to Prater, they're actually pretty close in their ways of stealth, but Dexter didn't have a bodyguard, nor did he have billions of dollars. Instead, he built himself relationships with 5 different women. I mean, talk about a player. But so far from episode 5, we're told that he doesn't have a family, as his parents died in a car crash when he was little. Next is the one you've been waiting for, the Trinity killer, Mr. Arthur Mitchell. Now, we've seen the Istra killer and we've seen the Bay Harbor Butcher, but Trinity is different type of unk status. For over 30 years, he ran his killing spree with a disturbing routine and with a weird ritual. The ritual being cutting up women's legs in bathtubs. Throughout season 4, Trinity was sometimes arrogant as hell and sometimes the nicest guy on the show, which in some ways made him unpredictable. But what made Trinity dangerous was that he didn't just kill young ladies, but it was that he manipulated everyone around him, including Dexter himself. I mean, the man was a complete monster hiding behind a mask of a family man, and that double life forced Dexter to adapt and dig deeper than ever before. So you may be asking, how does Prater fit in all of this? Unlike Brian, Trinity, or even the Bay Harbor Butcher case, Leon Prater isn't about the big gestures or obvious patterns. He's the complete opposite, or as of what we've seen, his character could absolutely change for the better or worse next episode. But I mean, he's not leaving behind trophies, instead he's collecting them from others. But hiding in that trophy exhibit, he may even have his own hidden trophies. He's the kind of guy who watches the game unfold without ever making a move, until the perfect moment. That's what I call a Sigma. Leon does background checks on every killer he invites to his Diddy parties, and you're telling me he doesn't know what what Dexter Morgan looks like? Like, come on, he knows exactly who Dexter is beneath all the masks and lies, and instead of charging in full guns blasted, he's letting Dexter mess up so he can attack in the right moment. In my opinion, this makes Leon Prater the most unpredictable and possibly the most dangerous opponent Dexter has ever faced. Now that we've unpacked who Leon Prater is and how he compares to the killers from Dexter's past, let's dive into what really matters. How dangerous is this guy to Dexter right now? Well, in my opinion, Leon's threat level is absolutely massive. And I don't mean low taper fade level, but I mean that he could kill Dexter this season and Harrison takes over the next season and gets revenge for his daddy. But hey, that's just the theory. It looks like he's playing the long game, the kind of game Dexter isn't always prepared for, but he'll always find ways for. Dexter's strength throughout all the seasons has always been control over everything except for his horniness. But Leon knows all of that. He sees through the perfect little princess world Dexter's built. And here's the kicker, Leon doesn't need proof or confessions to turn the screws. Just by being there, he unsettles Dexter more than any direct threat ever could, which makes Prater's silence a weapon. I mean, he may even be the New York Ripper, but it's hard to understand because Prater is 4'5", and I find it hard to believe he'll be running around with a massive crowbar that's bigger than him. Although that would be hilarious, no disrespect to the actor though. So yeah, in my opinion, Leon Prater's threat level isn't just Istra Killer level, but it's nearing Trinity level. Now going over the episodes, in episode 4, Prater throws a dinner party that's anything but casual because there's 5 different serial killers, one of which will disappear in the episode. Now Dexter shows up as Red, and Prater wastes no time dropping subtle hints that he knows way more than he's saying. He talks about this dark passenger like he's already inside Dexter's head, which is a crazy power move. Now, during the party, Prater doesn't just make small talk about killing with Dexter, or maybe he does, but he shows off his collection of memorabilia from killers Dexter has faced before. Throughout this whole scene, we see that not only does his obsession go deep and personal, but he takes pride in all of it. This is a huge clue saying that he's not just a fan, but he's done his homework and knows exactly who Dexter is. But what makes Prater really dangerous is his calmness, and as I said, that's literally his weapon. This is a man who's playing chess while everyone is stuck playing checkers. Now, that was episode 4, but in episode 5, we get to see more of his personal side. We see Prater get interviewed by Leslie Stahl, where we get to know more about Prater's come up. But basically, he grew up in a foster home, you know, the typical background. And get this, he paid off the mortgage for the foster home and for every kid who was adopted from there. Talk about a charitable, suspicious man. Throughout the interview, Leslie wants to focus on him, but Prater keeps deflecting and wants the story to be more about the foster home, not himself. A classic trying to hide something type of guy. Then comes the suspicious stuff. Leslie asks why he supports the New York City Police Foundation, especially during times when cops are under fire, and Prater opens up and says that both of his parents died in a drunk driving accident when he was a kid. The police saved him, kind of like Dexter was saved by Harry Morgan. But Prater is still playing his game because when the interview cuts back after a break, he talks about hosting the gala and the wounded officers being the true guests of honor. He's definitely putting a performance, but one that makes him look genuine. Later, Prater watches the interview he was just in. I mean, talk about worried about his height. But in my opinion, these 2 episodes deepen Leon Prater's character as a calculated villain that's probably setting up Dexter for a trap of his. So now that we've covered all the episodes he was in, let's dive into some of the fan theories and yeah, a few plot holes that have people talking. Now, first up, the big one. How the heck does Prater not flat out call Dexter out? I mean, this guy's basically obsessed with serial killers where he's got trophies from the Istra Killer, the Bay Harbor Butcher, and the Trinity Killer. In theory, he should know Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher by now. Some fans, this is a huge plot hole. Like, did the writers just forget? But in my opinion, it's more likely intentional. Prater's definitely playing the long game as he wants to watch Dexter mess up so he could possibly kill him himself. Then there's the theory that Prater might actually be a reflection of Dexter's dark future. Some fans speculate that Prater once walked a path similar to Dexter's but made different choices, and others suggest that Prater's interest in Dexter goes beyond just killing him and maybe he wants to recruit him into his own serial killer club. I mean, after all, he's been recruiting other killers. Wouldn't Dexter be the ultimate prize in a way? On the flip side, some fans point out that Prater's backstory almost makes him too perfect as a villain. And then there's Harrison's connection. Some fans theorize that Prater might be watching Harrison closely closely, knowing that Dexter's weakness might be his son. That would be a smart move after all. Getting Dexter through Harrison would be like hitting the jackpot. But I think we can all agree that Dexter's pretty smart, like really smart. But as they say, the sharpest knives have dual edges. Ain't that what they say? Either way, in my opinion, Dexter's biggest weakness aren't his skills or his ability to cover his tracks, cause he did that for 8 straight seasons and killed everyone that found out. But first, Dexter's need for control is and will probably always be there, as he always thinks he's the one running the show, but honestly, he's just juggling fire with fire. He tries to control everything, but that control is fragile, as he uses the Dark Passenger for pretty much anything, although he has been trying to not listen to it in Resurrection. And one wrong move and everything starts to unravel. Then there's his isolation. Dexter's world is built on secrets and lies, which keeps everyone he knows at arm's length, because in his mind, that's how he protects them. But that isolation doesn't make him stronger. No, it just makes him vulnerable, because when he needs help, there's no one there. And he doesn't just do what he used to do, and that was kill bad people. He's definitely taken a step back in this season. Now, another big one is his emotional blind spots. Dexter's not great at dealing with feelings. He hides behind logic and his quote-unquote dark passenger, but deep down, emotions like guilt and love trip him up more than any physical threat. In my opinion, Prater knows this and will use it to mess with Dexter's head, which will be wishing he makes a mistake. Also, Dexter's past always catches up with him, whether it's his code from Harry or his complicated relationship with Harrison. His history is a goldmine for the writers. Every secret he's hidden, trauma that he hasn't shown, is a weakness waiting to be exploited. Finally, and this one's a classic, Dexter's overconfidence. Is he brilliant? Yes, but sometimes he underestimates how clever his enemies are. Thinking he's untouchable is a trap, and Prater is clearly smart enough to see it coming, because he even has his own bodyguard to grab things from the top shelf. So when you put it all together, Dexter's weaknesses are all cracks in his human side. The things Leon Prater can see, well, definitely not, because he's 4'5". Okay, I'll stop joking about his height, but also, if you guys comment that I'm hating on his height, I'm not. It's a simple joke. The actor's done a phenomenal job so far in Resurrection, and I have the utmost respect for him. Now, honestly, this slow psychological battle is exactly what this show needed to feel fresh again. So yeah, if you ask me, Leon Prater isn't just Dexter's biggest problem, he might even be the best thing that's happened to the series in years since Trinity.